First of all, Child's Play is a 1988 horror film written by Don Mancini. The first film was released on November 9th, 1988. And originally it was going to be called Blood Buddies. And basically, Andy was going to be the one doing the killing, but he was going to blame it on Chucky. But instead, they decided to make Chucky the killer instead of Andy. So the movie was a success, and I know it was based on the Cabbage Patch dolls. I just wanted to point that out. The movie was a success, so he decided to make a sequel. I liked the sequel, and everyone else did. Now, according to what I heard on television, Don Mancini ran out of ideas. So his last stop was to put Chucky in a military camp, because he had started running out of ideas. Now here we are on Child's Play 3. That movie had some controversy. In Great Britain, there was some kind of murder or something involved with Child's Play 3. Let me explain the character of Chucky. He was this killer that tried to get inside of a good guy doll to avoid the afterlife, because he didn't want to go to hell. I guess I can understand that. The first 3 movies were okay. They were decent. But then suddenly, the Child's Play 4, or the Bride of Chucky, we find out that the reason he even made that movie is because there was a movie called Bride of Frankenstein. And he was talking to this guy, and this guy was like, wouldn't it be cool if we made a bride for Chucky? So then Don Mancini did that. This is basically when he started pulling things out of his ass. He just started making up things as he went along. Now, Chucky has a wife, Tiffany, played by Jennifer Tilly. Jennifer is a very beautiful woman. I would love to meet her. I would probably even ask her to kiss me, because I like being kissed by pretty girls. But the problem is, there was really no need for her to be in the Child's Play series. It was better when Chucky was solo. The first 3 movies, they were great. I loved the Chucky chant. I found myself saying the chant along with Chucky. I loved it. But the 4th one is what started to ruin it. Now he's got a wife, and you've got all this backstory, all this baggage. Suddenly, Chucky was wearing an amulet around his neck the night he was shot. Where was the amulet? I didn't see the amulet. Where was it? And apparently, Tiffany was the one that helped him do all that stuff. But believe me, we're just getting started. The story gets worse. So Jesse and Jade killed Chucky once again. Chucky was burnt up in the first movie, blown up in the second movie with air pressure. In the third movie, they cut him into 1,000,000 pieces. But then, on the 4th one, Jesse and Jade Kincaid, or not Kincaid, but whatever Jesse's last name was. I don't know why they said the Kincaid family. You go by the husband's last name, not the wife's. But I'll stick with that. The Kincaid family shot him and left him in a graveyard on Bride of Chucky. We get to Seed of Chucky, 2004. 2004 is a time of reality shows, parodies, spoofs. The internet is becoming more popular. Fear Factor is becoming more popular. So what did Don Mancini do? He put all this stuff into Seed of Chucky. Redman, the rapper, is a big Chucky fan. He probably begged Don Mancini to be in the movie, so Don Mancini let him be in the movie. Getting back to my point, Chucky kills Redman in the Seed of Chucky. In Seed of Chucky, Chucky and Tiffany tried to put themselves in the bodies of Jennifer Tilly and Redman. Not to mention that it's stupid that Jennifer Tilly is playing herself and Tiffany. We get to the final film, The Curse of Chucky. This is where it gets interesting. We find out that not only is Chucky the Lakeshore Strangler, but apparently the reason why he was running from Detective Mike Norris is because some lady, I forgot her name, but some lady in The Curse of Chucky told that he was the killer. So he was running from her and he stabbed her in the stomach, which would explain why Nika can't walk. Okay, where was all this in the first movie? Oh, and by the way, not only is Chucky a killer and he has a family, but he's mentally ill. Now, some people will say, well, aren't all serial killers mentally ill? No, they're not. Some of them know exactly what they're doing. They just want to kill for the sake of killing. But now Chucky's mentally ill, and we find out that he was killing all these people because he wanted a family. He was obsessed with his neighbors in Chicago. He didn't say anything about that in the first 3 movies, or even the 4th movie, or even in the 5th movie. His sole focus, his sole purpose was to get in the body of Andy Barkley. But apparently now they've got all this baggage. When you start making baggage and creating extra baggage, it makes the franchise more complicated. So forget about trying to get in the body of Andy in the first 2 films, and then getting in the body of Tyler in part 3. But now we've got Tiffany. Now we've got Jesse and Jade. And now we've got the Tilly family. And now we've got Nika. Since when? He didn't say anything about any of this in the first couple of films. Now all of a sudden we got all this extra stuff. Why? We don't need it. I'm going to tell you why Don Mancini made Curse of Chucky. He made Curse of Chucky because fans kept emailing him, complaining to him that Chucky was no longer scary. So he had to find some kind of way to bring Chucky back to his dark origins. So he reached and he reached and reached deep down, and he pulled this story out of the deepest, lowest regions of his body. And he said, okay, I've got it. Chucky had a family. He kidnapped this girl and she snitched on him, so he stabbed her in the stomach, causing Nika to become paralyzed. This whole time, Chucky wanted a family. And why did he want this family? Because the fans kept begging him for a movie, and he really didn't know what to do with Chucky. So he just kept going and kept going until he could think of something. The problem is, he thought of the dumbest thing ever. And now we've got all this other stuff with Chucky. Now Chucky is not only a Lakeshore Strangler, now he's a guy that's butthurt because he was snitched on. Now he's stabbing people in the stomach because they told on him. Now, when you cut Chucky and when you stab Chucky, no blood comes out. Apparently, even though he got chopped into pieces at the end of part 5, I guess Tiffany stitched them together and mailed them to this new family in part 6. What did she use? Amazon? Is that what she used? Did she use eBay? This is what happens when you just pull stuff out of your ass. You just make up stuff as you go along. You should have stuck with the original formula, but no. He had to keep adding things on and adding things on. And putting layer after layer after layer onto the story. Now the story doesn't even make any sense. Chucky went from being pure evil to nothing more than your average psychopath. Because he's so delusional in the Curse of Chucky that he literally thinks this family is his family, even though he kidnapped the girl, and he can't understand why she would tell on him. He can't understand that. That bothers him. I don't even know what to say about this franchise. And now he's putting himself in the body of a little girl. I like that part. I have to admit that. I've given you my thoughts on the Child's Play franchise. The first 3 were good. But 4, 5, and 6, those are just ideas that he had to come up with because fans were probably getting on his nerves. So he rushed it, especially with part 6. Jennifer Tilly is probably a nice lady, but she really didn't belong in the Child's Play franchise. It was better when Chucky was on his own. My biggest problem with the entire franchise is now in part 6, Chucky wants to act like he's tough. Chucky's basically a badass now. He's talking all this trash to a girl in a wheelchair, and yet he gets his ass kicked by an 8-year-old kid named Andy Barkley in Child's Play 1 and 2. But he knows Nika can't fight back, so now he's all tough. But other than that, I like the franchise. I just don't like 4, 5, and 6. Because I feel like they were forced. You should let somebody do a movie when they want to do it, and then it'll turn out better. And those are my thoughts on the franchise. I can't wait for Child's Play 7. I admit I'm excited about it.